Hey everyone, I'm Paul with MadCap Software. Welcome to our final video on micro content in MadCap Flare. In this final video, I just kind of want to take you through and show you the things that we do in our own project as it relates to micro content, because that's a question I get a lot from people. They go, well, what do you do? And I ask people the same things. What do you do? And so it's nice sometimes to see what somebody else is doing. It might give you ideas or help the light go on. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take you through a few things to just explain what it is exactly we do. First of all, there is actually a help topic in the online help. You can see what the MadCap Doc team does for micro content. And that's really what I'm going to take you through is these things right down here. So first of all, I wanted to start with analytics. I have that video earlier in this series on analytics. And just to repeat briefly, what we do with that is I do use analytics to create most of the micro content. I'm looking at the output and how people are using it. Yeah, I create things on the fly as I'm going, but I really rely heavily on this. So in MadCap Central, I'll go into our analytics and open the key, and I especially pay attention to this phrases report and what things are getting the most attention, and in particular, this micro content results. And then most of the time I'm filtering on doesn't have micro content. And then I'm just kind of going through looking at what these things are and thinking, okay, how can I create micro content on this? How can I answer the question? Sometimes it's not easy. The search is just one or two words, and sometimes that can mean multiple things, but do the best I can and try to answer those things. So I absolutely rely on analytics to begin with. Now, as far as if within the Flare project, what's that like? Well, this is what our Flare project looks like, the main one. And you can see in the Content Explorer, got lots of things for all the different products. Come down. So how many micro content files do we have? Well, I've got a different folder for all of these different products, and Flare is our main product. And you can see I've got something like 9 micro content files in here, each with a different purpose. And it really does help to organize these into different functions or different types of content. I just sort of did that from the beginning. And once we added the ability to have proxies and be able to direct micro content in different ways, it really does help. So cheat sheet links, some of these are PDFs. And so I'll have PDF links on the right side of topics. If there's a particular subject like styles, well, there's a styles cheat sheet, and someone can click on that if they just want to see 1 or 2 pages, a quick handy reference. Other PDFs in here are, let's see, there are tutorial links. So we've got a bunch of tutorials, and you can click on the PDF and go through a tutorial. There's user guide links, and then there's video links for the side. And you'll see that here in a minute in the output. So those are all really just kind of simple little pieces of micro content. It's just got a link and maybe an icon in it. So those are some of the main kinds of micro content files. And then as far as search results, I split it up into a few different categories. One is definitions, and that's just, it's a real specific thing that someone's looking for, and I can go, oh yeah, it means this, and it's pretty easy to tell that's what they're after. And so it's not a lot of content, usually just a paragraph, maybe an image to go along with it, and then something that I call mini landing pages. So you go into the main content, and there are these landing pages for all these major subject areas, and when someone searches for something that's a pretty big subject, well, I can't put everything about it in that piece of micro content, but I also want the micro content to be relatively brief. So I have these, but I create what are mini landing pages. It's kind of a truncated version of that main landing page. So it'll be, a paragraph probably, and then some drop downs and maybe an image, maybe something like that, to explain and direct people to more information. And then the third one is these quick steps. So when I know that somebody is looking for a how-to, I've got all my micro content in there. So it'll be a heading and then the set of steps. And a lot of times I like to use animated GIFs because people can look at that at a glance, and the light bulb goes on and they go, oh, I get it. Now, I also have a few other unique pieces of micro content in here, promotions. So this micro content shows up in the topic output when you're clicking on topics. And if you happen to land on a topic where it just it has to do with new things that we added, you click on skins, and well, we made some changes in skins in the last release. You're going to see a promotional piece of micro content over to the right, or maybe it'll be a link to another product. So our products kind of talk to one another, capture and lingo and so forth. And so you might see a promotional piece of micro content for that. And what else? The last one is probably these featured snippets, videos for featured snippets. So I have two video micro content files. This one, they kind of contain the same things, just in a different format. And this one right here is for search results. You'll see if there's a video related to something somebody's searching for, it'll show it there. So those are the micro content files that I've got and that I'm using. Another question is about the structure of the responses. So you can see I've got a micro content file here on quick steps, and this one has to do add feedback learning. So our e-learning feature, and I can tell by just looking at this, I've got this in a responsive layout. So it's a set of steps in here, and you come down, and then there's an animated GIF. So when you are looking at this in micro content, because this is going to be presented on the right side of the page, and there's only so much space, the animated GIF is going to be at the bottom, but in the full topic, it will be on the side. So I can show you that real quick. So if you search for e-learning feedback, you're going to get, yeah, here's the set of steps right in here, and then the animated GIF. And if you open up the full topic, you're going to get the set of steps, but the animated GIF is just kind of over on the right. So a lot of times I will do responsive layouts like that. But then there are other times, you just search for CSH for context sensitive help, get this piece of micro content here, and I'm not using that. So it just depends on the situation. But I do use structured the responsive layouts enough to where I created templates for them. And so if you look in my Content Explorer, you come down, you see this templates folder that I created. And under there, there's snippets. So watch the responsive layouts video if you're not sure about responsive layouts. It all revolves around the number 12. Kind of sounds like a cult, but it's there's a purpose here. So the idea is each one of these represents one row, sort of like a table, just one row, but how many cells and how much space is consumed by each one. So 444 is 3 cells, and each one is equal. And then 48 is 2 cells, and the one on the left is only 1/3 of the space, and the one on the right is 2/3 of the space. And what I do is when I'm creating new micro content or new content at all, that where I know I want to use one of these, I kind of picture in the output, I visualize what I want, and I'll just drag this in. This is a snippet, and the snippet, I'll just show it to you. It's just this, and I'll put XXX in here because I know I need to replace that content. So it's just these 2 cells, and I just put whatever content I want in those. I drag this in. It's a snippet. I right click it, convert it to text, and put my content in there. Very simple, but I use these all the time. Now, what about containers? Because this whole video series was about, not the whole video series, but a big chunk of it was about these different containers, the knowledge panel and the featured snippets and the 3 different kinds of micro content proxies. And you can have them in topics and you can have them in search results. What do? Well, for search results, I'm really just using the featured snippets and the knowledge panel. So if I go and look for one of my targets in here and open this up, and I go to the search tab and come down, you can see that for my featured snippets, I'm just telling it, show these videos, the YouTube videos. I'm just using that space because I'm kind of following the lead of Google on that. And then in the right pane for the knowledge panel, I'm telling it definitions, mini landing pages, and quick steps. Whatever the best match is, show it. As far as the proxies are concerned, I am using 2 out of the 3 kinds of proxies. I thought I was going to use the knowledge proxy, but I ended up using the promotion proxy and the FAQ proxy. And so I put those in a template page. So I've actually got a few different template pages that I'm using, but this is the main one. This is what most of the topics in the output are using. And I use this responsive layout, just as I showed it earlier in the video series. Put the topic body proxy in here. I only have things set up for MadCap Central and MadCap Flare out of all of our products so far. This is going to grow in here, but for each product, I'm using 4 different proxies. And so you can see I've got conditions on these. The kind of blue ones, these are for Central, MadCap Central, our output, and these other ones are for Flare. So I'm using a promotion proxy, first of all, in each one of these that is set up let's just open this up. So this one is for our central output, and I'm pointing to this promotions skin in here. So I created a special skin. I'll show you that in a second. And I'm pointing to this promotions micro content file, and I'm using meta tag values as I showed earlier. And this one is specifically used to show any what's new content, micro content at the top. And then I've got these others, FAQ proxies that I'm using for PDFs and videos, and it's very similar to what I showed earlier in this series. And then I have a second promotion proxy, which is used for products and is probably best if I just show you in the output here. So these are search results. And so, of course, this is my knowledge panel, and the best match for this happened to be a mini landing page. And video just happens to go along with this. Context sensitive help. Sometimes there isn't a video, and so there isn't anything over there. Or I might search for create condition. And same thing, knowledge panel is showing a set of steps. It's coming from a different micro content file. Again, I got a video there, or it might be something, it might be the definitions, property, CSS, something like that. Yeah, I've got, this is what I call a definition. So there's a property and a little image to go along with it. And I actually do have a video that relates to it. So that came up too in that case. But then if I go to the actual topics, I might click on something like learning and development. And over on the right, now this is my PDF and video stuff in here. This is coming from an FAQ proxy in the template page. All right. And I've got the 2 containers in there, one for PDFs and one for videos, but it's pulling in micro content from different micro content files. And I changed the skin so it looks like it's all in the same container in there. Or PDF output, open that up, and well, we had a change in this release related to PDF output. So I get this promotion proxy over here, shows up as well as the PDF and video outputs. Or I could come down and look at translation localization, and there's a PDF link and a promotion proxy for MadCap Lingo. So those are the things I'm doing. So it's a combination of FAQ proxies and promotion proxies. That's what I'm doing. At least that's what I'm doing for now. Now, if we look at the skin styles, what am I doing there? So go into skins, and I've got, for Flare, I've got the main side navigation skin, and these are the views that I'm using. I think maybe the only thing that I changed was some of the proxy ones down here, like the FAQ proxy. I'm not using FAQ, so I changed it from drop down to plain text. And a lot of the things that you saw earlier in the video series, changing the styles. I did change the width and margins and things like that. And actually, I started out figuring out how to things to do in my own project. And then I created the little demo project and sort of did a lot of the same things. Now, under here, I've got this shared folder, and I've got a bunch of little components in here. And I created some especially for micro content, the topic links for PDF links and video links. And so those are those things that you saw on the right-hand side. And I wanted to have those look a certain way, and then the promotions. So that's all I'm doing with the skins and the skin styles, a lot of what you already saw earlier. And then a video early in this series, I talked about methods for creating micro content. And as I said back then, is most of the time I'm creating my micro content directly from the project. Because it's usually content that already exists. Sometimes I'll have to create, I have snippets, and I'll be linking to those. But for the most part, it is, I'm creating it from there. And the great thing about that is when I create micro content from the from the topic, I get this link. So that's one of the reasons why I do it. I like the idea that people can just click the link and go to the full topic if they've just got more questions in and they want to see more information, if there is more information in there. It's not a huge mystery. What I'm doing is, I already kind of explained it throughout the video series. What I did in the small project is the same thing I'm doing in my big project. And like everything else, it's a process of evolution. Things are changing. You'll go into Google and you do searches, and what was coming up a year ago isn't the same thing as it is now. They're always coming. There's these different objects that are always happening. And so I anticipate over time, if I show this a year from now, my output's going to look different than it does now. But for now, that's what I'm doing. And I do hope that helps you maybe tackle your own project, get things going. Okay, I think we've done enough damage here. That is it. That is the full video series on micro content in MadCap Flare. I want to thank you for watching this series and this video, and we will talk to you next time.